calculate safe days in irregular menstrual cycle, calculate ovulation in irregular periods, get pregnant. In this video today, we are going to learn about how you can calculate your safe days in irregular menstrual cycles, even if you have an irregular menstrual cycle. And then also we are going to learn today how you can calculate ovulation in irregular periods and also get pregnant naturally. Keep watching. After this message, we are talking about this topic. Thanks a lot for staying around, and today we are going to talk about how you can calculate your safe days even if you have an irregular cycle. And please remember to ask me all your questions down below in the comments. I will be able to answer all your questions. GERALD MASSA, the health educator, is the name of the channel. And before we go to our main topic for today, we need to have a recap. We need to have a reminder of what happens when we talk about safe days, unsafe days, days of ovulation. We need to have this at the back of our mind. And yes, we are talking about how you can calculate your safe days even if you have irregular periods. So when we look at this diagram, it's basically part of the reproductive system of a woman. This is what we call the fimbrial part, or part of the fallopian tube that receives the egg. And then this is the ovary. The ovary is that part that basically stores the egg cells, also known as the follicles, which grow, and after growing they are released. The release of these eggs that are mature are what we call ovulation. The process is what we call ovulation. So we have the whole of this length of the tube. This is what we call the fallopian tube. The egg that has been released always gets fertilized around this part. It's known as the ampulla or the ampullary part of your fallopian tube. This kind of like junction. Normally fertilization takes place around here. So the egg that is fertilized is basically moves backwards, and as it is moving, it keeps dividing through a process known as meiosis, or cell division into smaller parts. So this cell basically begins dividing, and then it ends up forming a cell that has divided, also known as the blastocyst. This blastocyst is basically the first stage of what is going to become our baby. So what happens is that the egg that is moving downwards comes, and then it gets attached onto the uterine lining. The whole of this is your uterine lining. The whole of this is your uterine lining. But in this case, the uterine lining is basically, we have this egg coming and then attaching itself here, and then it begins to grow. When it is growing, there's going to be what we call burrowing or digging of this fallopian tube, of this egg that is growing. It keeps digging deep in here, and this digging, or this digging of this egg onto the uterine wall, specifically causes what we call bleeding. Bleeding specifically, this bleeding is due to the blood vessels rupturing. So when the blood vessels have ruptured, there's going to be some spotting in your, you can see some spotting, and this is what we call implantation bleeding. So having talked about the whole process of ovulation, we are going to go to our main topic for today, and the topic is how you can calculate safe days even if you have irregular menstrual cycle. Calculate safe days in irregular menstrual cycle. Calculate ovulation in irregular periods, and in the process get pregnant naturally. When we look at this diagram, it's basically an example of what we are talking about today. We have we take this as a calendar, but we have these parts which are marked as red, these parts are when a woman is ovulating. So sorry about that. These parts which are marked red specifically are those days when a woman is in her periods or when she's going through the process of menstruation. So in this particular case, the days of menstruation are 4. So when we have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, basically beginning from day 1 up to day 4, this is basically the whole period. You are going to be seeing your periods. And then when we add these day 5 and day 6, specifically the periods are stopping. These are the last days. You may see some little blood, but it may be really faint. And so basically we count that the days you are seeing your periods are from day 1 up to day 7. This is really long, but still when we have a woman who is having irregular cycles, you may realize that in one cycle she may be having her periods going on for 7 days, and then she may miss the next month, and then she may again get her periods maybe after 2 months, and then maybe during that time the cycle may be shorter or longer. When we talk about shorter menstrual cycles and then longer menstrual cycles, if at all we are looking at defining the menstrual cycle, when we say that a menstrual cycle or your cycle is long, it means that when you see your periods from day 1 up to day 7, the next time you are going to be seeing your periods again, that is what we call the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is the length you take from the time you first saw your periods up to the next time you are going to see your first period. So in women who are having irregular periods, are having irregular cycles, you realize that today it may be a 29-day cycle, and then you may again get the next cycle being for 26 days, and then the next may be for 32. So what we normally do to calculate the safe days, specifically we count in a cycle that is happening, like let's say you are menstruating this month, but the past 2 months you've been missing. Specifically, we use the month you are in, and then we shall count and say from day 1, we count up to day 7, assuming you are going into your periods up for 7 days. You could even go in for only 2 days. Still, we count day 1 and day 2, and then from there, we go back and realize that the whole process of ovulation, specifically, it takes 14 days. So we count, even though your cycle is for 25 days or 26 days, we count from day 1, we count up to the 14th day. So the day 1 is this first day. We count up to the 14th day. We shall say day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, day 13, day 14. So specifically on day 14th, that is when you are going to be really ovulating, and that is when you are most likely to get pregnant. The chances of getting pregnant are very high on day 14. So what happens is that even though your cycle is irregular, on day 14, it's always advisable that you be with your partner. That is when you are most likely to get pregnant. So calculating your safe days in irregular menstrual cycles, calculating ovulation in irregular periods still follows the same rule. It still follows the same rule that you always have to count 14 days from day 1 when you saw your periods. If day 1 was maybe on 4th, and then you saw your periods up to 9th, we are most interested in the first day you saw your periods. We count 14 days, and then on the 14th day, that is when you are going to be ovulating. Still, this method, if you have irregular periods, if you have irregular an irregular menstrual cycle, this method does not work very well, but still you can supplement it up with other methods. For example, by following what we call your basal body temperature. So it is very important to monitor your basal body temperature on before you see your ovulation, before you ovulate. And then it's also very important to use ovulation predictor kits. These are testing kits. They are kind of similar to the pregnancy strips, but in this case these are specifically made to look for the LH hormone and estrogen. Specifically, they test for the luteinizing hormone and estrogen. These hormones are released when a woman is really when a woman is about to go into her ovulation. In this video today, we've talked about how to calculate safe days in irregular menstrual cycle. So remember to ask me all your questions, and please subscribe to our channel, GERALD MASSA, the health educator. You'll be the first to get the new videos I put out every day. May God bless and protect us all. Remember to connect with me on my WhatsApp. It is +256 701 797876. My WhatsApp is +256 701 797876. And remember to read the description. I've put lots of information in the description. And remember to support our channel so that we can put out more videos for all of our friends. And please like and share our video. Tell your friends about our channel, GERALD MASSA, the health educator. I'm really so happy that you've spared some time to get this lesson. I hope you've learned something in today's video. Let me know in the comments what you have learned today. If you have any questions in regards to what I've talked about, please ask me down below in the comments. Ask me on my WhatsApp and we shall interact more. Have yourself a fantastic and healthy day. See you in my next video. Bye-bye. Thank you, my friend, for attending today's lesson. I hope you have learned something. And please, if you have any questions in regards to what we've just discussed, leave your questions in the comments. Ask me your questions. I will answer all your questions. On this channel, GERALD MASSA, the health educator, I talk about women's health. Have yourself a fantastic and healthy day, and may God bless us all. Bye-bye.